lights come alive. Drivers line up, ready to survive. Green flag waves, it's a battle of will. Every lap counts, every corner's a thrill. Prosper Engineering leads the way, where champions are made every race day. On iracing, the challenge is clear. The best endurance league is right here. Welcome to the Prosper Engineering Endurance Series. 2 hours of racing, riding every story. Road course is calling, no room for mistakes. Every braking zone, every risk you take. Fight to the finish, never back down. Earn your victory, wear the crown. Thursday nights, we're chasing glory. Prosper Engineering writes the story. Pit stops matter, strategy's king. One small error can change everything. Through every chicane and every bend, the battle goes on until the very end. Fast laps, close calls, hearts racing strong. 2 hours can feel both short and long. Respect the track, respect the fight. Legends are born on Thursday night. Engines roaring through the night. Every driver giving all their might. Corner by corner, mile by mile. Victory comes to those who never stop the fight. Welcome to the Prosper Engineering Endurance Series, the home of endurance and unforgettable stories. Thursday nights, another virtual light. 2-hour road course battles reaching new heights. Push to the limit, give it your all. Stand back up every time you fall. Prosper Engineering, where racers belong. This is our league, this is our song. Yeah,
Good evening, everybody. We are here with the NASRA 360 Racing Network. I'm one of your co-hosts tonight. My name is Anthony Shababy, and next to me is my new esteemed friend. They call him Rubber Ducky, and I think we're just going to call him Duck for tonight. How you doing, man?
Oh, you know, it's another wonderful night here at the track. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. We're here in Belgium. We're at the Spa. The Spa, one of my favorite tracks. And this is brought to you by ServPro. This is the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Race, and we are here for 2 hours and 2 hours of fun. How are you feeling about that, man? It's going to be a fun time.
You know, I'm ready for this, and I'm just excited to be here and be in this series. You know, while it's my first night, you know, I've got a little bit of practice under my belt, and I'm curious to learn everybody's names here tonight.
Yeah, you know, I think that puts both of us in the same boat, man. But honestly, I think we're going to get through it just fine. You know, I know we got to talk backstage before everything went live here, but there's a couple drivers I want to point out tonight. One of those guys is Matthew David Wood. The other one's Tyler Justice. And I heard Tyler Justice and that McLaren, that Bandits Motorsports McLaren, is chomping out the bit to get to Matthew Wood. Now, mind you, Matthew Wood used to run in a different division here. And it's a split division, excuse me, that I understand. And the only reason why he's here in the one that we're watching tonight is because he wanted to give some of the other guys a shot. Well, when you're that dang good, and what I mean by that dang good is that he has won every race this season so far. Do you think you give a guy a shot for that, Duck?
You know, again, while I was backstage, I got to read a little bit on him, and he is killing it.
Oh, here we are. We're coming up to the starting grid here, Duck. First position is going to be the Mission 1 Esports with Matthew Wood, Tyler Justice following in second, Anthony Maria in third, and our fourth, Maxwell, excuse me if I'm going to butcher your name, is Maxwell Giacomazzi. That's a great name if I've said it correctly. And Devin Painter rounding out the top 5 in that Ferrari, Maxwell running the Porsche, and Anthony running the Ford. Followed behind that is going to end up be Isaac Bevan in 6th. And behind that will be Rob Ferrelli. Buzzy Mongold rounding out the 8th spot. Luis Rivera. Joshua Suss in the 10th spot. Spoke to Josh earlier. Great guy. Adam Newton in the DSR League. The Bulldog in the 11th spot, followed by Luke Smith.
All right. Here we go. In 13th, we've got Dustin Gordon here, followed by Dalton Shearer, or I believe Shearer or Scherer. It's Shearer. All right. And then we've got Cole Larson in 15th, followed by Tyler Brokaw in 16th. Then we've got J.D. Larson bringing up 17th, and Stephen Thomas here in 18th. And here we go with the final results. We've got Chris Blanchard here in 19th, followed by Brandon Rapp in 20th, Joey Helton in 21st, followed by Keith Haney in 22nd, and in the very back we have Bryson Black. Absolutely, here we go. So weather conditions here at the track today, we're sitting at about 5:42 p.m. here at the track, and it's going to be 70 degrees outside. Now, the track temp is looking a little hot here today. We are sitting at 82 degrees. Now, keep in mind, that is Fahrenheit and not Celsius. And we're looking a little cloudy today. You know, it's okay.
Slight chance of precipitation, do you think?
Maybe slight.
Maybe slight, 68%.
Maybe slight
percentage there.
Yeah, I've seen the weather change. You know, there's been some. I've seen some interesting things happen. We'll keep it up in the air.
I got to ask you, Doug. We've had a couple of glimpses at some of the cars, and you know how I am. I'm a paint scheme fiend. I love a good paint scheme. Have you seen anything that caught your eye tonight that you might like? Right up on the screen here on the broadcast, I am checking out this turquoise, blue, and pink, what seems to be a Porsche. That caught my eye too, man. It caught my eye too.
It is just absolutely beautiful, and it draws me for some reason.
Reminds me of eating cotton candy for some reason. Does that make me fat?
You know.
All right, let's go and listen in some onboard audio. Listen to what the drivers are saying. And we're on board here with Joshua Suss.
He looks locked in today.
He is sporting the Deadpool t-shirt. I love it. And here we're on board with Dalton Shear. Dalton Shear also looking locked in. Excuse me, this is Luis Rivera. Oh, thank you, our broadcaster there. Dalton Shear. Dalton Shear here. Looks like he's locked in. Juno's been going. Ready to get this race underway. Looks like we're going to take another lap around the spot.
Absolutely, get the practice times in. You know, take a little bit of the edge off. You know, I completely understand it.
And we are coming to the green. First turn, here we go. Matthew Wood, Sport number 1, Tyler Justice, Bandit Motorsports Maxwell, Anthony and Devin Painter, top 5. Here we go, coming up the first stretch. You're going to have a little dog leg. This is going to be a long race, and it's going to be a fun one.
Absolutely. I am so excited for tonight. And just looking at him here, I have never, and this is my first circuit race as well. So tonight is going to be interesting.
Looks like we got a little bit of traffic break coming down the back straightaway. Got some position finding here between first and third, feeling each other out, breaking drafts, seeing how you react. And we got a spin. Somebody's out. There's a number 99 Devin Painter. That was your top 5 starter when we went green. There goes that Porsche that you like, Ducky.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And he's looking clean on the track today. Look at his formation. You know, he is locked in today, and I love that for him.
Tyler Justice taking the number 1 position from Matthew David Wood. Again, Matthew David Wood has won every race so far this season, and I know this is
It looks like someone just slid across the back there.
We have somebody come off the back. Anthony Moraro and Dalton Schiff.
Oh, no.
As we can see at the Spal, we're still our first lap in, and it is not treating our guests kindly tonight. Maxwell with a quick regain there, looking to make some ground. He's got plenty of time. Dalton Shear. Dalton Shear looks like he got into some contact there and really ate his car up. Not sure if he got nudged there or just caught the side, and there goes the hood.
There we go, the front grille coming off.
Lost traction. Just I don't know if there's been enough left to kick him some dust there, but it looks like they just lost traction going into that one. I do believe that was Maxwell. And I do believe we are back here. Rounding out with Tyler Justice and Matthew Wood. Both of these guys have been neck and neck. I was informed earlier that Tyler Justice has been on the heels of Matthew Wood, and any day could be his big break. And so far earlier on, it looks like he and Wood are setting a good pace with Isaac Bevan, the wheelman, sitting in 3rd place. What's your favorite car in this series, Ducky? What car do you like the most?
You know, I'm a big Porsche guy. I'm not too much of a BMW guy, and that is just due to some bad personal experiences. But Porsche, I love the body lines on a Porsche. And
is that why you picked the paint? Is that why you spotted that car?
I think so. I love cotton candy, and Porsche is just, I'm going to support them through and through.
You know, I do want to remind people we are in somewhat of a split series here. And what I mean by that, we are here with the Prosper Engineering Endurance Series, but there is another one going on in the midst. You know what that is, Ducky?
I do. It is the King of Europe.
Is it?
Split series. Actually, hold on.
That's the Blanchard's Towing and Company King of Europe Sports Series. There's our point standings. Devin Painter, as you can see, was the one we just saw lose it there, but slowly regained himself back onto the track. Isaac Bevan, who is still here in play, in a second place points chase with Tyler Justice running out in the third spot position. Again, this is a split series, but to my understanding, this is the total race points event. Oh, we got a Lamborghini spun around. Looks like Stephen Thomas. Not sure what quite happened there. Came off the apron just fine. Same spot. Is that not the same spot?
I do believe so.
That's the same spot that we saw that Porsche get around on. A lot of traffic coming out here for the last turn going to the main stretch. We have a Hornet's Nest going on here. That McDonald's blue Mustang, it's making me hungry, I tell you. I do believe that is our mid-pack position. If we can get a shot here on that Mustang and that BMW conversation. There we go. Looks like that's Anthony Morea and Joey Helton. I do want to point out in our 8th place position is Luis Rivera for Helix 9 Motorsports. He's rocking that number 52 McLaren. And we saw somebody in the chat earlier. Look out for Luis Rivera. Well, he's making his way up there. So, Ducky, take it away, man. What do you think about these McLarens versus the Fords here? Obviously, the McLarens are taking a lot of speed early on. Do you think some of the Fords and some of the BMWs can kind of regain some traction?
It's funny you ask. I am also a big Ford guy, and I do believe in Ford performance. They have got a shot here just to even catch up. McLarens have a lot of power, and they do, and I'll be the first to admit that. But Fords are also known for their durability, over long distances. So I think it's a fair playing field.
This whole night I felt like we built up a pretty good relationship until you just told me you were a Ford guy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a big Corvette fan. I really am. I'm probably gonna get a lot of slack for that one too, and that's rightfully slow. I advertise that. So guy off the track. Kermit Straw, guy off the track. And here we are with our fastest lap. Tyler Justice laying it down at 2:17. 2:17.823, followed by a 2:17.857 from Matthew Wood. Wow. Both of those guys, two seconds faster from third place. 5 from 8. Here we are. Here looks like, is that an LMS we have here by Cole Larson, followed by Adam Newton. Both of these guys, correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe are in the DSR series, and I had the privilege of calling one of their races last week. Oh, we got contact! Adam Newton, the number 19 we were just talking about. Let's get a rewind, see what happened here. Did he bite the apron? Is that what happened, Doug?
I do believe he caught the chicane there. Let's see that one more time here.
It looked like he got high-centered over the rumble strip on the right side there. And he did. That's exactly what happened. He got high-centered. That's unfortunate. Heavy damage on that number 19.
Absolutely, and that's going to cost him some valuable time here.
That does hurt. That does hurt. And we are back here again with Tyler Justice and Matthew David Wood, pivoting back to the mid of the pack here. We are on board with Anthony Moreira and Dustin Gordon finding the spot in the 11th place position, overtaking Cole Larson, and obviously I would think would appear to be due to that interaction that he had just had. Well, Larson and Joey Helton quick on the heels. I tell you what, that AMG, that's a pretty paint job, man. High off the rumble strip from that Audi there with Cole Larson and that Larson Esports number 20. So, one thing I do want to make something known here, Doug, we were just informed that most of these guys, about all these guys, were in paddle shifters. Did you know that?
I did not actually, and it looks like Adam Newton here is shifting with an H pattern, which definitely makes things interesting. One hand on the wheel, I don't want to speak too much on stability here, but it seems like he knows what he's doing.
I mean, when you are at a track like the Spa, again, I'm going to probably catch some flack for not saying how everybody wants me to, but you're going to deal with it. When at the Spa, it's not very forgiving, especially when you push your car over those aprons on the rumble strips, and these chicanes right here can play dirty, especially where that AMG just ran to the outside line. I can't tell you how many times I've got bit by racing that line coming out too high. And when you have one hand on the wheel, I can definitely see versus, having two in a paddle would make more of a challenge. But if you can have success with it, I say go for it.
Absolutely.
here on board. Looks like J.D. Larson and Adam Newton for a brief second there. And Matthew David Wood seems to be creeping in just a little bit. Last lap, he was within a couple of tenths of a second from Tyler Justice. So I would look for a move here coming up with the next couple of turns. I would say after the chicane. So, Duck, we didn't have a lot of time to talk. What kind of car do you drive?
Oh, so I've got a personal, I've got a 1997 F-150, something basic. But I do have my own hauling business, and, that makes everything better. But if we're talking dream cars, I wished I was driving a 67 Impala.
You and me both, man. Looks like Matthew David Wood is making a run for it on the outside, coming up to that second dogleg. Normally they call us a DRS zone, but we are not open wheel tonight, are we?
We are not.
Matthew David Wood with a successful push on the outside. I don't think Tyler Justice is going to let him go for long. Dream cars, though. You brought up a dream car. I have to say, 69 Shelby Cobra. It was a 67. Shelby Cobra. It was the coupe, the Roadster. You know, the one with the slant back hatchback on the back. Rare one. That I would say. I mean, I do like Corvettes. I'd say 67 Stingray. I'd take it.
Okay.
Oh.
That's an interesting choice.
That's what I'm hearing. Our producer's got would you say 34 Ford Coupe in the garage? When's the last time you take that to the spa? You know what? If I told you what I owned and what I drive as a daily, you'd have to believe it was a race car. Gotcha. I'm a big Chevy guy too. Hey, you know what? I can't give people too much criticism about the cars they drive. I'm not proud of mine. I gotta say, it's paid off though. Thank God.
And I'm going to take a peek at the broadcast comments here. Kay Sully says a 97 Cobra Mustang. And that is such an interesting choice.
97?
Yeah. Y'all are more than welcome in the chat here to put your dream cars. We'd love to talk about them while giving you all the entertainment here at the spa.
We're going to be here for another hour and 40 minutes, Ducky, so we might as well make some fun while we can.
Absolutely.
Matthew David Wood still trying to keep as much of a gap as he can from Tyler Justice. Looked like we had a little bit of some confusion here coming out of that last turn. Looks like Cole Larson dropped a couple of spots, and Luke Smith, the Kermit. I've learned this last week. I know people love it. The Kermit is making his way up the leaderboard in the 14th position with that United States of America McLaren. Excuse me. That's where he's from. My apologies. Also racing for the NASRA Racing Esports team. A lot of people in the chat here wanting to see Rivera win this race. A lot of people talking him up.
And he's in 8th right now, so it's not impossible. He's got a lot of ground to make up, but
on board with Joshua Suss. Excuse me. Do you believe that was Joshua Suss? Forgive me, we are on board here with Kermit, trying to keep up with the producer. Somebody in chat says their dream car, and I don't know that the people that made this car even like this car, is a Pontiac Aztek.
I think I may have heard it all now.
I don't know what to do with you know, a Pontiac. They came out with it, I think, in the year 2000, and it had a thing where you could pop up the hatch and make a 10 out of the back of it. It was the ugliest car I think I've ever seen.
I think they made it from, I think it was 2000 to 2005. It was a very short-lived model.
Yeah, I do believe you are correct. Here we are, coming in with Joey Helton on the backside of Tyler Brokaw. I'm not sure if I can repeat what was just informed me from our producer here, but it was told that the second part of it was that Joey Helton has gained the most positions. And Anthony Morea has, in fact, lost the most. Let's see if we can get some change here. I know these guys are going to have to pit. I do believe we're at 55% fuel starting this race. So, you know, at some point they are going to have to find their way in the pits and maybe make some tire ones. We got Clay in the chat here. What do you think about the Nissan Cube?
I don't think anybody wants my opinion on the Nissan Cube.
I'm kind of indifferent to it. I mean, it would be kind of cool to see. I'm sure there's Nissan Cube show cars out there with a lot of speakers. I'm sure they'd be neat, but I think that's how I feel about it.
It's
Here we go, inside car. Move by one of my favorite paints tonight, the number 44 McDonald's, and we got some contact. Whoa!
It looks like he saved it at the end there.
No, I know you're a Mustang guy. I think you've gathered by now that I'm not, and that's okay. But that paint job is so cool looking. I think that's Tyler Brokaw and that black and purple, you know, kind of transfer paint. That is so cool to me. I love that. Joey Helton on his heels. We got Jay Duke screaming from a mountaintop. I'll be somewhere outside of Belgium. Luis Helton on the heels of Brokaw. Here we go back to, I'm just going to start abbreviating his name. If the guy's this good, we're just going to call him MDE, Matthew David Wood.
I think that is, we're going to say that's somewhat fitting. You know, he is, I'm not sure if his backstory, but he's come out of the woodworks.
I mean, MTW doesn't sound that good. It sounds, you know, it sounds like a knockoff dirt bike. You'd probably get off a team or somewhere.
Oh, and it looks like Luke Smith here says he's from Hungary. I don't even think I could point that out on a map to you.
Well, don't bring me back to class, man. I'm not prepared for that. I'm here to talk and
a little
have
rusty.
a good time. I could definitely point out Italy. I know it looks like a boot.
I think that's the only country I can name overseas.
Looks like Matthew David Wood there caught some dirt coming out of last turn, but I see Tyler Justice really kind of taking advantage of it. Looks like he might be hanging back. Again, we do have a long race coming up. We're about 25 minutes in, maybe almost 30 minutes into this race. Both of these guys really just laying down a commanding lead. I will say though, Isaac Bevan, you know, let's go back to our Blanchard's Towing King Company of Europe point system real quick. I want to point something out here. Devin Painter leading in this division, starting the race, spun out. Isaac Bevan took prime opposition of it and said, okay, this is going to put me in place to get some better points here. And if this stays course, and if you better hope Devin Painter doesn't find a way. He's going to take the #1 spot after this race. Here we are. Listen to the sound of that. Love that. We were just on board there with Tyler Brokaw on that number 42 Ford Mustang. That is actually a good-looking car. I knew you were going to get me to admit it at some point if I just kept talking.
And we're going to go to the chat box here. Someone has mentioned a Fiat Multipla, and I'm going to be honest, I had to go look up what this is. This is produced by Italian automaker Fiat from 1998 to 2010. And to pull up the stats here, it was the Blue Power variant was the first production CNG only car. So that's interesting.
What's the horsepower on this thing?
Let's see the stats on this thing.
Does it have 3 wheels? It sounds like it does.
It actually has 4 wheels, and it's showing the Fiat Multipla's horsepower ranges from 91 to 118 horsepower. So a tiny bit more than your average sports bike.
Well, I guess that makes me feel a little bit better about owning a Kia Soul. I think I could take it in a street race.
And it looks like it is powered by a 1.6 16-valve motor, which is so unique.
Here we are on board again with Matthew David Wood. Looks like coming up on lap traffic here. I do believe it's Chris Blanchard, the upfront Motorsports number 9 McLaren. Rough outing for Blanchard today.
And going back here, I'm curious. You have mentioned a Kia Soul. Tell us a little bit more about this Kia Soul.
Oh man, it is my greatest triumph. Okay, look, it's quick story. I broke my arm badly when I was younger, and I tell everybody I get bit by sharks. So I'm going to tell you how my Kia Soul's a race car. Okay, I cut the resonator off. I cut the cat off. And I put a glass pack on it, on a Kia Soul. I've cut it all off, and I put a straight pipe glass pack with a muffler at the back. That's where I stopped. But you know what? I tell everybody these Mustangs.
I love it. I love it.
It is an on-running joke in my close circle that they've got some nice cars and they're fast. And I tell you what, I still love my 89,000 mile Kia Soul before it hits 100K and it takes a crap on me. But it's loud, it's obnoxious, and it gets me to work if I need
to. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure the gas mileage isn't what it should be, but if it's working,
Honestly, the gas mileage went about 35 miles a gallon. It dropped to like 24 when I cut everything off.
Oh, no.
Got bad. Hey, you know what? It's paid off. It's a fun car. We have other vehicles.
Hey, I have my own reasons for not liking Kia, and it's due to a lot of their electrical issues. And I refuse to work on them. I refuse to buy them. But there are just a few that stand out that have been running for so long. Somehow, that you just have to give them the credit they deserve.
And a lot of people have different opinions on them. I like to think that they're decent cars, but again, in today's day and age, is anything really decent?
And that's the big worry with how cars are made today is, a lot of these companies like to skimp money on some of these parts, and they just don't hold up as well as what you would get out of something 30 or 40 years old.
Yep, you're absolutely right, man. I do want to point out here that Maxwell, I wish I could pronounce his last name. I'm just going to start calling him Mozzie. I love it. His last lap was actually really fast. In fact, it was the second fastest last lap. Looks like he's starting to make some ground. Would look for him, and there he is. There he is, and that number 63 cotton candy Porsche. And we got somebody hitting there on the rumble strip, just coming out of that corner there. That is our Bulldog. Oh. Tough break. Again, a lot of race to go.
It's certainly not over yet. We still have an hour and 33 minutes to go.
And at the hour mark, we will be taking a quick intermission. But till then, a lot of conversation, a lot of racing. Somebody in chat is telling us that, I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly, Luke Smith he goes by the Weatherman. I'm not sure if that context was put there correctly, but if that's the case, that's a pretty cool name.
Absolutely. We ought to get, I think it was Hank Williams Jr. who sung the song Weatherman.
Well, I think we just got approval. We're going to start calling Luke Smith the Weatherman now.
Absolutely.
Here we are with Josh, us. In-car cam, locked in. Joshua Suss, how we doing today, brother?
Oh, we're doing great. I'm actually having a blast.
All right, I'm glad you are, man. We're having a blast watching you guys out there drive. I got to say, I said something earlier about it. I love the Deadpool shirt.
Thanks.
How's it feeling out there for you tonight, man? How's the car feeling?
Car feels great. A little sketchy while the tires are still cold, but about a lap and it'll be fine. But I'm at the pit this next time by, so I'll have cold tires again soon. Hopefully I don't loop it.
Awesome stuff, man. How you liking it at the Spa? It's one of my favorite tracks.
I really love that section I just went through. It's definitely tricky because if you mess it up, you can go about anywhere. Pushed that a little too hard. Sorry.
I do have a quick question for him.
What you got?
It is not necessarily about the car, but how are you feeling about the 2 hours today?
Oh, I'm pumped. I think I put way more time in practice than 2 hours, so I should be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your strategy right now, Josh? You're hanging around 7th. You're running down consistent laps because even your times. What's your plan going forward here?
Don't suck. I'm not much of a strategic person.
Don't suck. That's good advice. If I think I've ever heard it.
Yeah. Just try to keep the wheels underneath me. I think I can at least maintain. Maybe pick up a spot or two as long as I don't loop it or anything.
Well, definitely good luck to you tonight, man. We got a lot of racing to go, and we had a blast talking to you. Keep the car on the track. Keep it fast, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Correct.
Where is it actually, like, from the pit bull?
And here we are with the real weatherman, Matthew David Wood. How are we doing tonight, brother? Looks like you're putting down some fast laps. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Just, saved a little bit of fuel. I have an extra lap here. Lap McLaren in front of me. Everything's going well.
How's the car feeling versus Tyler Justice? I know you guys had some good battles all the way up until the last lap when he took his pit. So how's that looking for you? Any different type of tact you'd like to take? Proceeding with this race going forward about another hour and 25 minutes.
I think I definitely have to work on the brake bias on the start of the run because I'm very, very understeery. As far as right now, I really started to build a gap before I had a little wide moment, and then I just decided to save a little bit of fuel. So I'm confident in it, but we're gonna have to see after the pit stop if I can hold off him on hot and fresh tires versus me with new and cold tires. So it's going to be interesting. It's a whole lap around here. About 2 minutes is a very long lap, so it's going to have a long time to get his tires up to temp before I come into pit road. So
Absolutely heard you loud and clear. Duck, you got anything for a guy here, man? I mean, and before you do, Duck, they called you the weatherman. Can we just call you MD Dubs? MDW. It sounds a lot cooler. I mean, I might be just throwing something out to see if it sticks to the wall. The weatherman is cool, but don't you think we can shift that over to Luke Smith, maybe?
oh, I don't care. You can call me whatever you want.
What do you got for him, Ducky?
I just have one question for you. Mr. Weatherman, tell me your forecast.
I got one question for him, and this, what's the weather like in your area? Where are you from?
Well, I'm from West Virginia, so
Okay.
it's actually gotten very active today. We had our state's anyway, first ever PDS tornado warning, particularly dangerous situation warning. So that was interesting. I wasn't near it, thankfully. Also, Morgantown had a tornado warning, so very active day. There was a thunderstorm down there, but I don't think it got hit very hard. Not as hard as I thought it would, so it's always good. Yeah, everything seems to be all right down there besides the roads, of course. That's what we're infamous for, so.
Well, we're sure glad you are safe, man, and hopefully you continue to stay safe up there. And down here in Florida, we're hoping we get 0 hurricanes this year, but there's always one that'll kind of make you prepare a little more than you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. El Nino is kind of killing hurricane season right now, so
Yep.
that's always good. But you never know. All it takes is 1 week of really, really good weather, and at least for hurricane weather, really good hurricane weather for 1 week, and you could have a very, very significant storm on your hands. So you can never get comfortable, but as far as overall aspects go, it always looks good. So
Speaking of comfortability, I don't want to hold you up too much. I think there's some people that would like to see you talk about weather all day, but we're going to let you get back and drive and put down some times, man.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming along, Matthew.
Yes, I believe I was with.
I think we got some people asking for Luis here. Some Luis Rivera action. Luis Rivera, you're on. How are you doing, bud?
Great, how are you?
How you feeling tonight, man?
Great.
Good, that's good, man. We got a lot of people in the chat here that are calling for your name, so we figured to get you aboard and talk to you and see how the race is going for you.
Awesome, yeah, the race is feeling great so far. I pit for fuel and tires just now. I should have kept the tires that I had on, but it is what it is. I'll change my strategy up for the next stop.
Got any adjustments you want to change in that strategy?
Just mainly maintaining my tires and just playing around with my brake bias.
Well, you do have about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 10 minutes of race time left, so there's plenty of race time for you to go and plenty of things to happen. Ducky, you have anything for Luis here? I know there's a lot of people in the chat that are going to want to ask, want me to have you answer a lot of questions, but I'm sure Ducky would like to chime in here.
I do have a question for you. So, it seems you've got some super fans here. How is that pushing you through today?
Yeah, I mean, it's always great, pushing the sport. Sim racing's really grown over the years, and You know, I want to keep supporting this league and other racers.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got some super fans out here.
Thank you.
How long have you been racing in this series, Luis?
Since December.
Since December. And how you enjoying it? You having a good time out there with the guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, as you know how NASCAR does, and it looks like you're coming into a close battle. We'll keep it short. Who's the driver you think you find yourself competing with the most?
Earlier it was Joshua Suss earlier. Him and I were having a pretty good battle.
Looks like you and the Kermit and Joey Helton got your hands full, so we won't keep tying you up and let you go. So thank you for joining us, man. Good luck to you and have fun.
Thank you.
Luis, one question. What team are you with?
Race development.
Race hoop?
Race development.
Race development. Thank you. Race development.
Yeah. It's Rob Ferrelli and Bryson Black.
Awesome stuff. Luis Rivera. There he is on board. Does it make you feel kind of bad when we're doing interviews like that, Ducky? And they get caught in the skirmish. Like, I don't want to take it away, but we got to, you got to ask him something.
I know, and I feel so bad for interrupting them, and it's always a great conversation with them.
It is.
They've always got some great things to say, and it's always nice to know how they feel, how their car is handling, and how their day is going, and it kind of gives us an input as to how we can help them with further recognition.
And looks like we're going to change for the lead here. Tyler Justice taking the spot from Matthew David Wood. I do believe Wood was just coming out of the pits there. That or some contact happened. And here we are, back to square one with these guys.
This is such an interesting rivalry to see, and they've been pretty clean so far. And I'm just curious as to what each other's strategy is to get around each other. And they are neck and neck right now.
I don't know if we exactly crossed the threshold of rivalry, but I'm sure by the end of this race, if there is one, we're going to see it. And the next time, we're going to know.
Absolutely.
Jay Duke in the chat. The important guy. All of them cheering on Luis Rivera. Man, I don't think I've seen a following for that guy since last week when everybody was cheering on Adam Newton and the Kermit. We got a man around here. Red Bull McLaren here. Is Buzzy Mongol. We're going to take a rewind, see what happened to Buzzy here. Is it the same turn? It is not the same turn. Running just fine over the rumble strip. Coming out of the last turn into the final stretch and just gave it too much gas. Looks like Tyler Brokoff may have had some issues as well when we're going to that replay. And it looks like he just overshot. I'm not sure if the brakes are wearing down, if his tires are giving out, but it just looks like he overshot. And we got another guy. Looks like he's just coming off the track there a little bit, which is Chris Blanchard in 18th position. Looks like he might be struggling with tires, Ducky.
Yeah, and that's another thing I'd like to point out too is when you're dealing with cold tires and you're somewhat halfway through the race, your mental strategy may not be the same as it was when you first came in, and maybe you forget just exactly how to warm the tires up.
Very, very true. Very true. Especially when you've been spending the past, 50 minutes, getting your tire, your car's warmed up. Obviously, it takes a good, couple laps around. But once the tires get warmed up and you get consistent with it, setting a groove, and you get some cold tires, you you got to kind of retrain your mind not to run so hard in and out of the corners.
Exactly, and a lot of it's a mental game, and I don't want to bash on anybody here, and I struggle with it myself. You know, I run an official series on iRacing. I run in an official series on iRacing. So I completely understand the difference between warm tires and cold tires, and just what it takes to reset your mental strategy in those moments.
I tell you what, man, I've been a big racing fan my entire life, and I couldn't really tell you much about how to set up a race car when it comes to iRacing or a game, but I tell you what, it could definitely help you out with putting it sideways.
Absolutely. And we just heard from our producer that he actually races in real life. He has I believe a 34 Ford Coupe and races in an Asphalt Legend series based out of Indiana.
You know what I say about that, Ducky?
What's that?
Still won't beat the soul. Still won't beat the soul. I'll die on that hill.
Oh. Now you want to make me get my truck out and take it for a little run there.
And we are on board here with our number 115 BMW M4 comp car, and that is driven by Joey Helton. Joey laying down some pretty consistent laps, lingering in 10th just behind Rivera.
Oh, what was that? I am not sure who just went flying through, but what a glimpse.
These cars are really testing that outside apron.
And there it was, just an unfortunate spin.
Makes you wonder if he's having steering issues.
And, you know, he might be, and it could be a car issue, too. Maybe he hit one of these corners just a little too hard, off just the tiniest amount. And it doesn't take much to throw off everybody's game here.
You know, I gotta give a big shout out to our producer tonight, Cody. Cody is he's been on point. He's been in our ear just about every 30 seconds, every 20 seconds when you and I have been talking. And he's doing a phenomenal job tonight. So I just wanted to go ahead and give you a big shout out, Cody. Thank you for all the hard work you're doing.
Absolutely. And, you know, I've known Cody IRL for a long time. I believe 7 years now. And he's always been a close friend to me. We've had our ups and downs. But watching him grow as a producer and everything that he does, you know, I have to give him a big shout out for that, because where he was and where he is now are on very opposite ends of the totem pole.
Practice does make perfect. I mean, look at us, man. This is still new to us, isn't it?
So, you know, I think this might be the 4th race I broadcasted, so.
Oh, we got some contact between the Carmen Buzzy Mungo, excuse me. Looks like they got into each other coming out of that corner. It does look like Buzzy might have lost a little bit of traction. We're on board there with Luis Rivera.
And this just goes to show how quick things can take a turn here. I looked away for 1 second, and they were door to door.
When it comes to our top 10 is Matthew Wood, Tyler Justice, Maxwell the Maz. I'm gonna start calling him Maz. Go ahead. Who are we on board with here? Dalton Shear, you give us a wave at the camera here, buddy. Dalton Shear, are you over, bud? Big pileup coming out of there that last turn on the final stretch. Clean pass there by the number 19, but Adam Newton just overshot with a hot pass going around that BMW and then got back into him on that chicane, causing a lot of disturbance. Some bump and run there coming out of that stretch. That middle of the pack, it sure is putting up a lot of fight there, isn't it? We are Dalton Shear back on
Dalton Shear.
Oh, take it away, Ducky.
Absolutely. Dalton Shear, if you can hear us, give us a wave, buddy. You were just looking serious today. You were locked in there. And our producer just told us that usually his son usually stands next to him. And I'm not too sure if that was a wave or if he was a little frustrated there.
It looked like it might have been a little bit of frustration from Dalton Shear.
I can definitely understand why he could be frustrated after a moment like that.
I tell you what, that mustache, it's got its own game. It makes him look even more angry than it does when he's driving.
Absolutely.
I'm on board here with Joshua Suss, riding in 6th position with that number 80 McLaren. Coming into that tight hairpin, one of my favorite turns. Just get to open it up. Beautiful camera angle from our producer there. Joshua Suss really hitting each corner there. Each inside clipping point he needs to get to. Great momentum. I absolutely love this stretch of the track.
And he is definitely eating away here. And if you check the look on his face, he is just nonchalant about everything and so calm.
It's the Deadpool shirt.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you there.
Definitely the Deadpool shirt.
And looking at the chat box here, everybody wants to talk to Joey Helton.
Joey Helton. There he is on the number 115. The producer's going to check to see if we can get Joey to hop on air with here with us and have a couple words with him.
Joey
Hey.
Helton.
What the hell happened?
You have some super fans asking to talk to you today. How are you feeling right now?
Unfortunate. We had a good run earlier. I don't think I'm on pace with some of the top guys, but I'm definitely having a fun time out here.
Joey, what
Yeah,
do you
that's-
think it has gone not quite your way and what you want to see change? Just curious.
Tire management for me personally, moving forward, I'm on the verge of a black flag, so I'm going to have to keep a really clean race for the last hour here. And just hope for the best at this point.
Gotcha.
I want to take a moment here and talk about your fans here. How do you feel about the fans, and how is that helping you throughout the race today?
Yeah, and how did you make so many friends? I
just love the support, everybody seems to show up for me. Sometimes I gotta remind them when I got events and stuff, but I'm actually a little surprised the amount of many people that's actually watching bi-weekly for me.
Well, you're definitely acquiring the tension there, man. I got to tell you what, that's a really cool looking paint job on that BMW M4 Comp. You tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we got a new sponsor here recently, not Microsoft Teams. I actually might have a Teams meeting after the race with the rest of my, my pit crew. So, sponsored by a lot of local businesses from my hometown. Shout out to Rarebird Emporium, Blue Ridge Bootleg Coffee, Ingles.
Awesome. That's good stuff, man. Glad to hear it. We're hoping to see you make a strong finish here towards the end of this race. I think we got about an hour left, and good luck to you, man. I'm sure we'll catch up with you next time.
Thank you. I think I got a black flag to serve now, so we'll see where that puts us. Yes.
There we have it. A couple words from Joey Helton.
Just to remind you, we are coming up close to our 1 hour break, or intermission, I should say. We have a few minutes to kill here. We are on board of that number 20 Audi R8. we have already talked to Luis. Looks like Joey Helton is going to take his time in the pits there.
We're going to pull up the times here. We're going to check the fastest lap so far. And it looks like our very own weatherman has the fastest lap with 2 minutes, 16 seconds, .821. And he is holding that pretty strongly here. Tower Justice he's got a close lead for the best lap, but he's still a little bit behind, and especially in the current laps and the last lap, he's still back there. So we'll see if he can make a move today and catch back up to where he was.
And we got a close chase here between Tyler Brokaw and Luis Rivera, with Cole Larson slowly at the heels of Rivera. Back to you. The weather, man. I guess I can't change it. But I'm going to find a better nickname, and we're going to give it to somebody else.
And it looks like in the chat box, we have someone rooting on our very own Maxwell Mozzie, is what we're going to call him. Maxwell Mozzie. He's got a fan in here.
That's our cotton candy Porsche we like so much.
Absolutely. And he's currently sitting third, and let's just take a look at his best time. He ran, his best time is 2 minutes, 17 seconds, .593. So he's still a good bit behind, but he's slowly catching up here.
I will say his Sector 1 and Sector 3 times are on point with the leaders, and so is the Sector 3. If he can get a couple more tenths out of the first and third one, he'll be just fine.
Absolutely. It looks like he's making a move here.
I do believe that we're looking at lap traffic there.
It looks like someone was in the back in the dirt.
See if we can get a rewind and go back to check that out. I'll put on camera for this. Still on board here with Maxwell. Just behind him, I do believe his lap traffic appears to be, might be Dalton Dalton Shearer. Could be wrong.
I think you might be correct there.
Cole
With
Larson
Dalton
coming out of the
Shearer.
pit. Look at the gap that Matthew Wood has really put in front of Tyler Justice. Do you think Justice is just kind of hanging back and saving his tires, or do you think Wood's really just pulling away from him?
I think it's a little bit of both, and I think Tyler's kind of easing out and kind of catching the weatherman's drift here.
You're sticking with it, huh?
Absolutely. You know, I think he's just hanging back there and sticking the rest of it out to see what he can do at the end.
You know I'm going to boycott this whole weatherman thing, right, Ducky?
Oh yeah, I am totally sure. I am actually and someone went in the dirt there.
Looked like it was Dalton Shearer went off on the dirt just a couple corners ago.
But yeah, I am unfortunately a big fan of just the Weatherman song. It's actually saved in my playlist right now. So, and another thing too, he's a big weather fanatic, and I like to consider myself too. With the storms we had today, I was kind of keeping up on everything, so I can kind of relate to him a little bit with that.
Now, would you say he's kind of the NASRA's version of Ron Burgundy?
You know, I would think so. He's just a man of all knowledge here.
Well, chasing storms and chasing down hot laps. There he is, the man in first with the number 21 Mission 1 Esports BMW M4 Comp with the red and yellow paint job. Loving the color combo.
And checking out the comments here, Import RGT Boy says, great job, Lewis, on that pass. So it looks like Lewis has another fan here in the chat.
Doesn't it make you kind of feel lonely? We don't have many of those, do we?
I know. I wish I had fans like this that rooted me on every day.
That's all right, man. Tonight I'm your biggest fan. We'll cheer each other on.
Absolutely. You know, I've got your back, and you've got mine. So we're gonna see what we can do here. And you know, this is 2 hours long, and we're just trying to have as much fun as you guys here. You know, especially this being my first night here and first night with an endurance race that is not an oval.
And I'm right there with you, Ducky. This is my second experience with the NASRA Racing Network, and this is my first endurance chance to call. So this is fun, man. This has been really cool, and looking forward to see how the rest of this race plays out for both of us and everybody else that's watching.
Absolutely. And real quick, I'd love to get a shout out to NASRA just for giving me this opportunity tonight. Obviously, there's some things I could things I could work on. But just getting to talk with you and chat here and kind of go over every driver, you know, it's been a blessing.
You know, we are coming up into what seems to be our first hour. Here we are leading first with Matthew Wood, Tyler Justice, the Mozzie in third, Isaac Bevan fourth, and Anthony Moran fifth. We are going to go into a commercial break. This is the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Series. We are here for another hour at the spa, presented to you by ServPro.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Craftsmanship that lasts a lifetime is Florida Cabinet Distributors. With over 20 years in business and 39 years of woodmaking experience, they proudly serve Northeast Florida to Southeast Georgia, delivering custom woodwork that combines precision, beauty, and durability. Whether you're dreaming of a custom kitchen, bathroom vanity, fireplace and mantel, entertainment center, outdoor kitchen, or even a full library, we can build it at Florida Cabinet Distributors, exactly the way that you envision. Hey, no project is too big or too small. If it's made of wood, Florida Cabinet Distributors can make it. Call or text Steve today. Yes, they gave us his personal cell number, 904-874-3442. That's 904-874-3442 to book today. Florida Cabinet Distributors, craftsmanship that lasts a lifetime.
Starbase, 1552 Comics. Suit up and head over to Whatnot Live to fight your way to save your collection. Our command center has comic books, action figures, posters, autographs, Funko Pops, and many other collectibles. If you can't make it live, fly on over to our eBay and Amazon stores. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook because being informed is part of the battle. Starbase 1552 Comics is a proud supporter of the iRacing's North American Sim Racing Association League. Starbase 1552 Comics. Reclaim your childhood. Are you ready?
For Murph's Magical Creations. Home to custom laser engraving and gifts. This veteran-owned and operated company engraves for all occasions. If you want one of Murph's magical creations, call the number on your screen or commission through either Instagram or via email. Murph's Magical Creations, made with love for you.
And we're back at the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Series, the 2 hours of the spa, sponsored to you by ServPro. Always there for your fire and water restoration needs. If something is going wrong, you call ServPro. We are here. Looks like we're taking some pit stops coming in. Got some position changes, and we're gonna get back to something here. Ducky, I wanted to bring something up to you in the break, and I know we were talking about cars and dream cars, but if you had to pick out of any one of these, and Mustangs weren't a liar, they weren't a thing, what'd you pick?
The Porsche, absolutely. Porsche is my second dream car, a 911 with a wide body kit with a blue and green pearlescent paint job.
You got that one all dialed in, don't you?
Absolutely. You know, I used to play GTA a lot when I was younger, which happens to be a couple years ago. And that was my favorite car on there. And I believe it was called a Comet Retro in GTA 5.
I remember it very clearly. Tyler Justice with a risky move and just avoided lap traffic there. Looks like he is battling with Luis Rivera. Luis Rivera one lap down. Here we are again on board with Tyler Justice.
Now, I actually want to get back to that. What if you had to pick one car in this race, what would it be and why?
I mean, it's not in the race, but can I say it? Like, I mean, it was, but it wasn't. You know, I want,
yeah, absolutely.
I want the last gen C6 Lamog vet. That's what I want. I want the GT3 Pro vet.
Okay, that's a very interesting choice.
Not the new one though. Not a fan of the body style.
That makes sense. I can totally agree with that. And I'm going to go to the comments here. Import RGT Boy is watching all the way from Orlando, Florida.
Hey,
So we're gonna-
town. Love it. About an hour south of that. Been there a couple of times. Fun place.
Absolutely. You know, I got the opportunity to take a trip there when I was a kid, and it was, I had a lot of fun, and I was in the car the whole time, but it's beautiful down there.
I tell you, living in Florida, I've been to more racetracks around the country than I have here in Florida. I have not been to Homestead. I have not been to Sebring. I know there's a track somewhere for, I think, Tallahassee, Jacksonville area is an outlaw track I haven't been to. I've been to Daytona once. But I tell you what, Sebring is something I've always wanted to get out and do. I know they got I think it's the 12 hours of Sebring out there, 24 hours, something of that nature. It's something I've always wanted to get out and go see, and it was like a fun time.
That definitely sounds interesting. You know, I have actually never been to any racetracks in Florida, and I've been to Florida at least 100 times. You know, I haul stuff down there. I haul boats and campers and such. So I go down there quite a bit, but I've never actually taken the time to go to any of the racetracks.
Definitely a trip to be had, man. Definitely a trip to be had.
Yeah, it sounds like it, especially with Daytona. Daytona is probably one of my favorite oval tracks, circle tracks, whatever you want to call it. And
that's a super speedway, baby. That's the one of them all. I don't
absolutely
know. There's probably going to be some people that'll argue that Talladega is better of the two tracks. I know it's a little bit bigger, but I'm going to be biased here because I live in Florida and say Daytona is the best track.
Talladega is a big track, but I'm going to go with Daytona on it.
There's your boy Mazzy in the Porsche GT3 911, that number 63 cotton candy looking color car, man. I know we're both a fan of that.
Absolutely. I love that car, and it drew me away as soon as I saw it.
Maxwell's still really holding good pace, good time. Doug, what do you think needs to happen I know we just got back from break. We got, about 50 minutes coming up left in the race. When do you think guys start to panic? When do you think the strategy changes? And what needs to happen for Maxwell and Tyler Justice to catch up to Matthew Wood? Because as I see it now, Matthew Wood is on an absolute mission with that Mission 1 Esports BMW M4.
Absolutely. I think everybody might be having a little bit of panic in the back of their mind now. But I really think about the 20-minute mark is when it's going to get serious. And I think that's when we're going to find people closing in and really pushing their car to the absolute limit, just trying to get ahead.
Very good way to look at it. I do want to point out Josh Suss is up to 6th place. Joshua Suss and that number 80 McLaren having a pretty decent night. I know we talked to him earlier. He was somewhere in the middle of the pack between 9th and 11th. But he's really starting to make some ground up. Also, something to look for making some contention if we do get some issues happening, if we do have a big one. Now, we do know it's not going to be any cautions unless we really get something that's going to be detrimental to the race. A lot of these guys can recoup and go. Absolutely.
And, while it might hurt each individual driver to eat up the times just repairing their car, it seems fitting that it takes the big one just to bring out a caution here.
Absolutely, you are right. And again, I want to go back to our producer here. If we can get up the King of Europe's points standings. Now, as you can see here, Isaac Bevan and Tyler Justice, 2nd and 3rd. Tyler Justice in the 3rd place standings, but he's 2nd in this race, with Isaac Bevan being 2nd in that point standings, but he's in 5th in this race in the number 7 car. It's funny how numbers work. So it's going to be interesting to see how the King of Europe standings does play out. We do know Devin Painter had some issues early on. So I just got some information from our producer after the race tonight. If they had finished as they are now, Tyler Justice would be in the lead of the King of Europe standings with just a 3-point difference from Isaac Bevan, which sets up something incredible for next week.
Absolutely, and Tyler Justice is on the move here. You know, he's fallen a little bit behind, but he's making moves tonight.
Do you think that shimmy was to throw some sauce? I mean, it looked intentional to me. It looked like he was shaking it like, ha, 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 ha.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you there. You know, he was definitely showing off there.
Let's go back to that. It looked like he threw a shimmy. Here we are in 6th place with Joshua Suss. He is fast with it tonight. I'm telling you, it's the Deadpool shirt, man. It always makes you better. Every time I put mine on, I feel like I'm just that much better.
You know, it definitely seems he's getting a little exhausted, but I mean, he still is maintaining his composure.
Normally, our boy Suss there would have a bunch of football helmets behind him. I know he's in the middle of a move. I'm interested to know what teams and what he's got there. That's just good insight from our producer there. Looks like we got somebody in the chat talking about Sebring. You want to go ahead and take it away from there, Ducky?
Absolutely. So he said Sebring is amazing. We go for 12 hours for IMSA and HSR. And Rolex 24 and HSR 24 in Daytona every year. And they are also good friends with Tuner Racing. And watching Luis Rivera race on here is amazing too. Again, I'll be honest, I don't even know what the Sebring track is. I don't even know where it is or even the track layout. But just hearing you talk about it, I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. And I think I'm going to have to go now.
Let me tell you about something about Sebring, man. It's like driving on diamonds and icicles. That track is so chewed up with tar strips, especially the last stretch going into that. It's a weird uphill. There's not much of a slight change, but there's some bumps coming into that hairpin there, coming out to the final stretch, and it is dangerous. A lot of guys like to run it wide, but if you're not on it and your draft isn't on point, you'll pull yourself into the wall or even worse. But I gotta go with Import here, man. Sebring is amazing. I've always wanted to go. I have been to Daytona. The 24-hour is definitely on my bucket list for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, on any track, you got to watch out for the gators on the track there. I mean, I have unfortunately seen it happen where debris just gets the best of some drivers.
Now, when we talk about a Florida track and you say gators, we have to be really specific.
So I am from the Midwest, and I'm a third generation, we'll call it truck driver. So gators for me is debris in the road. Now I know in Florida that's a little bit different down there. I have unfortunately seen the size of gators down there, and we'll just say I was impressed, but not impressed at the same time.
That's fair enough. Actually, you know what? I like it. We're going to stick with gators for now on.
Absolutely. We'll make it work.
So would you say our cotton candy flavored friend over there caught the case of the gators early on in the match?
You know, I think so. And, you know, he's come a long way since then. He has really just maintained his own composure through the entire race. And it's been working out for him so far after that little hiccup. You know, he's working his way up here.
Absolutely sure is. And, you know, just looking at some of the times here, Tyler Justice with a almost 15-second gap between Matthew David. Matthew David is just really just dialing it in, and our boy Maxwell and Anthony Morea topping out plus 32 and plus 51 seconds behind the leader position. And our 5 position is Isaac Bevan at almost 1 minute and 20 seconds. Look for Joshua Suss to really make some ground here. We got a pass coming in from the number 44 to the number 42 car. It looks like that is Tyler Brokaw with Anthony Morea.
Looks like he was giving him
was
a
giving
little
him
bit
a
of
heads
a
up.
flash there, yeah.
Let
Just
him
letting
know
him know
I'm
he was
coming
behind him, and
And Murray did the right thing. Let him know he was behind him. Hey, I don't want to get into an issue here. Just let me by, and Brokaw made the right move, but Murray really is just on a roll right now. That thing is cooking. If something happens here, we might be looking at a shootout, but I just don't know what would happen for these guys to catch up to Matthew Wood at this point.
he's definitely taken off. And again, they might be setting back just to kind of form a strategy and figure out what they're going to do. But it could also be Mr. Weatherman here just making his moves and maintaining his composure throughout the entire thing.
But a quick glance there at that number 3 of Dustin Gordon and that AMG. I really do like that paint. The gold with the flake in it, the purple on the back.
It's definitely an interesting paint scheme, and I can't deny it. It's a very sleek looking car. And here we are back with a cotton candy car. Boy, do I love this thing. I love watching it go around the track.
That's what we're going to call it from now on, is the cotton candy car. I'm absolutely infatuated with that paint design.
Absolutely. I wish I had that car in real life. And it's just so unique just to see it.
I got to tell you, Ducky, my biggest problem with this race tonight is the fact that our producer keeps pointing his camera at that McDonald's Ford Mustang. And I tell you what, it's making me hungry. And we're going to go side by side. Cancel that. We had a issue there, but we are going to stay in tune, on track with the cars in front of your screen. Here we are on board with that number 115 again to Joey Helton, that BMW M4 comp. What a great car.
Going back to what you said there, now that you mention it, I'm kind of getting a little hungry, and I just ate dinner not too long ago.
Let's not start that conversation, Ducky. I'm not ready for it tonight.
I could really go for I don't know, maybe a caramel frappe or something right now.
I tell you what, the last race I called, I could have swore I saw a billboard in the background with KFC. And you know what? I love me some chicken, man. Some KFC chicken really hits the spot.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I don't know if you are familiar with the Lee's, but the Lee's it seems to be my favorite chain so far. I kind of got burned out on KFC at a younger age, and I moved on to Popeyes, and then I moved on to Lee's, and I just haven't found another one to go to yet.
I don't know that I know the first one that you're talking about, but if you're going to sit here and tell me that Popeyes is better than KFC, we might be fighting after this broadcast.
It varies. It does, and it especially varies on the locations. But I do like the Popeyes chicken sandwiches if they're cooked right.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. It looks like we have there Luis Rivera in the number 52 taking a shot by JD Larson. One thing I want to point out with JD Larson, did you happen to notice that he's the only one driving an Acura in this field tonight?
Yeah, that is so interesting to see, and it's such an interesting car to see on the track here. I'm curious how it's working out for him tonight.
Well, a little fun fact for you that I happen to know is that when the Acura NSX came into the GT circuit, it was so dominant that they actually had to change a rule after the first year. I think it was the first or second year which would balance the field because it was so damn good.
That's interesting to hear because I unfortunately don't know a lot about Acura, but I do know Acuras are fast, and an Integra wouldn't be too bad if someone wanted to gift one to me.
You know what? I second that one. If anybody wants to give me a an Integra or an NSX, I'll gladly take one as well. What are the chances Acura shows up in your DMs after this?
I would be. I wouldn't know how to describe those emotions, but I would gracefully accept a car from Acura.
Now, what would you take? Commentating gig for their cars? Or would you take a car of their own?
You know, I don't know.
Sit on the DM for a couple of days.
Absolutely. You know, I think I'd have to take my time with that one.
100%. 100%. Here we are back with your cotton candy car, man.
This thing is, I just love this car. And it looks like he has made a tiny improvement in timing behind the leader, the weatherman here. And there he goes making his move around. And he's got a little green on there.
You ever been to one of those mom and pop ice cream shops and they had the rainbow sherbet swirled ice cream in the big bucket? That's what that car reminds me of.
Yes.
Back on board here with Joshua Suss on the 115 BMW M4. Suss really laying down some decent times here tonight, staying consistent in 6th place. Not allowing our boy Kermit, Luke Smith, to catch up. Leslie Mongold following here in 8th, and Adam Newton in 9th. Looks like we got some lap traffic from Dalton Shearer. Says, "Get me out of here. I'm trying to get back on pace as much as I can."
You know, it's funny you mentioned Joshua Suss. Mr. Deadpool there. He is... When we checked his driver camera last time, you know, I think he was getting a little bit tired, but he was still maintaining his composure there. And look at him. He is on top of his game right now. Just locked in.
Joshua Suss, what looks like to have the Mazda setup. And it looks like a wraparound monitor, which is awesome. As you saw, we looked at him, and he's pivoting his head. Slight communication. You know when a driver licks their lips and bites the bottom of their lip, they're like, okay, let's dial in and lock in. That's the guy that's trying to get serious right now and really score some points.
Absolutely. And with 35 minutes left to go here, I can understand why. We're getting down to crunch time.
You know, back to your chat here. You know, Import GT Boy says, surprised he's not seeing a lot more Porsches in this field. And now I'm looking at, we have one Porsche, one Acura, one Audi, and one Lamborghini.
It's definitely a spread out field. And some words from our producer here. His personal opinion is that the Lamborghinis suck. I don't know if that is a fact or an opinion, but I'm going to go with it. Especially looking at this Porsche.
Just so everybody knows, our producer's name is Cody. My name is...
And it looks like we cut out there. I'm going to finish that up. Like he said, our producer's name is Cody, our lovely Cody up there. You've got me here, Mr. Rubber Duck. And then you have our main producer here, Anthony Shababy. And we're going to call him Shababy.
Well, that is the correct pronunciation. I do apologize. I had some mic issues there.
And there you have it from our producer. We're gonna call him Shabooples from now on.
I don't know that I get a choice in this anymore. All right, and here in just about 20-30 minutes, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll come back to the end. We're coming up on minute 33, and I say minute 33 with Matthew David Wood taken charge by almost 20 seconds over our second place Tyler Justice, followed by Maxwell. I'm gonna Hail Mary it. Giacomazzi and Anthony Morea at fourth, Isaac Bevan in fifth, Joshua Suss in sixth, Luke Smith, the Kermit in seventh, Buzzy Mongold eighth, Adam Newton in ninth, and to round out the top 10 is Luis Rivera, with Luis Rivera getting pushed out to the outside of the cotton candy car from Mazzi. Mazzi taking a really deep shot over the 115.
You know, unfortunately I love to see him. Oh,
Anthony Suss off the track. Not sure if he was pushed or lost traction, trying to regain control without causing much of a problem here. Excuse me, that is Joey Helton, my correction.
going back into the times here, the weatherman has really just put some distance between him and the rest of the field. Tyler Justice is about 18 and a half seconds behind, and Max Mazzi is almost 40 seconds behind. So he's lost a little bit of time here. But again, we still have 30 minutes left for these drivers to make a move.
Tyler Justice's last lap was just under a second behind Matthew Wood, from a 2:18 to a 2:17.430 on board with Tyler Justice. 31 minutes left. I guess you just hope that the precipitation starts to take effect and it forces some strategy change for these guys running in the top five, other than Matthew Wood.
And you know, I love to see the weatherman up front there, but I'm really rooting for Mazzi here to bring my cotton candy car up front. You know, maybe something can happen here and we can see some lead changes.
No, I'm sure not going to take bias against any driver here, but that blue AMG GT by Dalton Shearer is a pretty looking car as well. Just in front of him is Dustin Gordon in the number 3 AMG GT. Also a really cool looking paint. Nice golden purple transition halfway down the car. Big fan.
I do like that car, and that's, you know what, when I see that car, I think of the king of the track, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, indeed. Looks like we got a shout out here from somebody in chat saying, "Let's go, Max and Ant," talking about Maxwell Giacomazzi. I guess we're gonna go with it. And Anthony Moreira. That's awesome, man. We got a lot of fans here. We had some Moreira fans, some Mazzi fans. I know we had a couple of Newton fans, and a lot of Rivera fans turned up tonight too, which is kind of cool to see. I'm sure these guys are stoked and loving putting on a show for everybody.
Absolutely. And we've got a commercial coming up here if you would like to take us into our intermission.
Let's go ahead and head into intermission. We're with the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Series. We're coming up at the end of the 2 hours of Spa Des Spa, presented by ServPro. All your fire and water damage needs. If everything doesn't go all right, you just call ServPro.
Are you ready?
For Murph's Magical Creations. Home to custom laser engraving and gifts. This veteran-owned and operated company engraves for all occasions. If you want one of Murph's magical creations, call the number on your screen or commission through either Instagram or via email. Murph's Magical Creations, made with love for you.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Craftsmanship that lasts a lifetime is Florida Cabinet Distributors. With over 20 years in business and 39 years of woodmaking experience, they proudly serve Northeast Florida to Southeast Georgia, delivering custom woodwork that combines precision, beauty, and durability. Whether you're dreaming of a custom kitchen, bathroom vanity, fireplace and mantle, entertainment center, outdoor kitchen, or even a full library, we can build it at Florida Cabinet Distributors, exactly the way that you envision. Hey, no project is too big or too small. If it's made of wood, Florida Cabinet Distributors can make it. Call or text Steve today. Yes, they gave us his personal cell number, 904-874-3442. That's 904-874-3442 to book today. Florida Cabinet Distributors, craftsmanship that lasts a lifetime.
Starbase, 1552 Comics. Suit up and head over to Whatnot Live to fight your way to save your collection. Our command center has comic books, action figures, posters, autographs, Funko Pops, and many other collectibles. If you can't make it live, fly on over to our eBay and Amazon stores. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook because being informed is part of the battle. Starbase 1552 Comics is a proud supporter of the iRacing's North American Sim Racing Association League. Starbase 1552 Comics. Reclaim your childhood.
And we're back at the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Series, the 2 hours of Disc Spa presented by ServPro. We saw a brief glimpse of our sponsors. I am Anthony Shababy, your lead announcer, and I'm here with Kai Shitwood, my buddy, my friend, the Rubber Ducky. We're almost there, man.
Quack.
We're almost there.
You know, we've got 25 minutes left here, and I think the anxiety is starting to set in here. You know, everybody's trying to get through here and maybe move up a couple positions.
Joey Helton really seems to be fighting that car, and even though before we went to break he had a little bit of an issue where it looks like he spun out a couple of times and lost some positions. I'm not sure if it's a tire issue that he's having, or if it's just nerves, or he might have a steer problem, but you can definitely see that something's not quite right with the car, as you see Dalton Shearer is slowly chomping at the bit to take his spot for 14th place.
And it looks like we had some comments over our commercial break here. Import says the worst part of all this is that there's no true cautions when accidents happen. And, you know, I can understand why there's not cautions, but it does take a toll on the drivers, especially when they've got to go in for repairs for a slight mistake.
You know, and you do have to factor into, you know, with this being an esports event, you know, you start adding cautions into the mix. You know, real live time, you know, these races can run several hours, which is why, you know, these guys really try to put on a straight race, 2 hours, And if something big does happen, you know, caution would be called. But again, a lot of these guys are so talented and they're driving, their experience, been doing this for a while. I mean, we see the intensity on some of the faces in the cameras we saw today. They're so quick and they're so, you know, capable of reacting to bad instances and getting back up on the track without causing problems. And I think that's why we've seen the race we have today, which is great for an endurance race. It really allows these guys just to get out there and go.
Absolutely, you know, and I would say they're reaching a quote-unquote flow state here. And watching everybody tonight, especially with this being my first time, watching everything go as fast as it does and with no cautions compared to, you know, circle track racing, this is just a different environment. And honestly, I'm glad to see there's no cautions and nobody has been seriously injured here.
Time flies when you're having fun, Doc. Time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely. You know, we've got 23 minutes left of the race here. And like I said before, it seems like these drivers are really trying to make their moves here, especially coming down to the nitty gritty.
Here we are still in a battle between Joey Helton and Dalton Shearer. Dalton Shearer trying to get the best of him. Joey Helton quickly taking back his remaining position. We got some lap traffic that's being notified, hey, I'm coming up. That is my favorite McDonald's car I think I've ever seen. It's so simple.
Absolutely. It's so simple, but yet stands out so much.
And that McDonald's car is the number 44 of Anthony Morea, riding in 5th place. He's making the best of his day, I'll tell you that. He's about 4 seconds behind Joshua Suss. Joshua Suss, last time we talked about him, he was in 6th place. He's now up to 4.
You know, he's really making some moves here, and he might be trying to work his way to the front. You know, I'm curious the strategy here, especially coming down to the end, and how well he's going to hold his composure.
You know, Duck, I gotta say something. And I know we've talked and the chat is your thing, but I gotta say something Casefully said here. The front engine cars burn the rear tires and the mid-engine cars burn their front left. Well, my response to you, Case, is that you have never earned or had a 1995 Jeep Cherokee and ran it with no oil for 3 months and it being a one-tire fire. You want to experience exhilaration, you get a one-tire fire Jeep Cherokee built in 1995.
You know, I don't even have anything to say to that.
You take it for what it is.
And I'm actually going to talk here about older cars. You know, sometimes in racing, getting that old beater that nobody wants that has been sitting in somebody's garage and turning it into an absolute masterpiece, you'd be surprised at, you know, just how cheap parts are and just how well that car really performs compared to the new technology.
Like your boy here, Maxwell, is creeping up on the heels, of Cole Larson in that Audi R8 LMR. Looks like he's coming up on lap traffic still. Maxwell putting some good pressure down on the track. Do not forget, Anthony Morea is behind him. Not exactly within closing distance, but if this transition and this pass does not go according to plan, and he gets held up by Cole Larson and then Audi, which he doesn't, Cole Larson does take the pit, so that does clear Maxwell. Moving on, Anthony Morea still a lot of ground to make up, as we see Leslie Mongold now sliding into 5th place with Isaac Bevan in 6th and Joshua Suss in 7th.
Yeah, and going back to times here, the Weatherman still holding the lead. Tyler Justice, 28 seconds behind him. And then we've got Maxwell Mozzie with 47 seconds behind. So he's made a 2-second jump just in the past couple laps here.
You want to know something wild, Duck? Is I think about 15 laps into this race. Maybe 15 laps into this race, we were talking about how Matthew Wood and Tyler Justice could have a shootout at the end of this race. It's still early on in 2 hours, but I think we were looking for something different, and what we got is what we knew would happen.
Yeah, definitely. You know, there's a little thought in the back of my mind that Matthew Wood would just run away, and unfortunately, that's the way it's looking for now. But again, there is still 19 minutes left in this race. Anything can happen. Anything can work out. So Tyler Justice still has a little bit of a chance there to make something work.
It's kind of like watching a Super Bowl or the World Series or the Daytona 500 or the World Cup. There's a driver you want to see win. There's a driver you know that's going to win. Now, we're not allowed to pick and choose here. We are completely unbiased. But with all the results we've had in the past couple of weeks, Tyler Justice is chomping at the bit at Matthew David Wood. But now we finally get to see by how much.
Absolutely. And, you know, going back to the no bias thing, you know, obviously us here in the box, we're going to have our favorite paint scheme cars. You know, I love the cotton candy car. But again, I am also unbiased. I'd love for everybody to have a shot at winning here. And that is racing in itself. One car, one driver, pushing to their absolute limit, trying in hopes to be in first place. And we hope that for absolutely everyone to just have the opportunity to reach that checkered flag.
You know, you say pushing it to the limit, and I would say just about every driver on this track at this point is pushing it to the limit, or most of them are. But then you look at Matthew Wood, like, is he still pushing it to the limit, or is he just out there having a fun Sunday drive?
You know, it's crazy you asked that. Matthew Wood, he's just a force to be reckoned with out here. And it looks like at this point, he is just out here having fun. I wouldn't be surprised if he was sitting in the passenger seat with one hand on the wheel, sipping a cup of tea.
And don't forget, Ducks, as he's coming up on Dalton Shearer here, he actually moved up in series. He was winning the Blanchard's Towing and Company King series, King of Europe points. He was winning that series and moved up so that other guys would have a shot. And now that he's moved up, who has a shot?
Yeah, you know, and it's looking like Tyler Justice here has a real opportunity to move up in that series, in that split series there. And I can completely understand why the Weatherman backed out of that one and moved up into a new class. You know, it's a very sportsmanlike thing to do, especially when you know you're fast. You know you can beat everyone else. So I'm going to give him props for that, as to giving other drivers the chance to win.
That's very well said. And we're coming up to 15 minutes here in the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Series, the 2 hours of the Spa. Presented by ServPro. If anybody's a pro, it's ServPro. Big shout out to our producer. Big shout out to the sponsors. Big shout out to everybody here that is watching, viewing, racing, commentating, drawing everything behind the scene. The big green curtain. You guys are the real MVPs.
Yeah, and you know, I want to take it back to this 15 minutes here. Now is the crunch time. Now everybody is really trying to get ahead and really trying to secure that position or move up as well. And we haven't really seen too many top 5 changes here besides Joshua Sauce. He is now in 6th. But Tyler Justice, Max Mazzi, Anthony Morea, and Isaac Bevan moving up there. But that top 4, they've maintained that for quite a bit now.
And you know, you would have probably thought if a move was going to be made or some distance gain. As you can see here, Matthew David Wood is going to flash some traffic there to let him know I'm here, wiggling and jiggling, as my boy Rexy would say, wiggles and jiggles to say, hey, I'm here. I'm not passing, but I might be taunting. I do have to say, if anything was going to happen between the top 10, it would have been between 3rd and 7th. If we saw any real shift change, it might have been detrimental to 1st and 2nd place with Matthew David and Tyler Justice. Matthew David Woods just kind of hanging behind lap traffic. Not quite sure if he's just playing his pace. He really doesn't have to do much here, as he is 26.5 seconds away from 2nd place.
You know, if I was him, you know, I think I'd be out there just having a ball. You know, he's been performing well the entire race. He's been leading, I'm not even sure how many laps, but he's just enjoying himself out here. And here we are. We're going to get a lap count here of how many laps we've been through.
Just to comment on that real quick, Duck, it really does look like he's out there having a good time.
All right, so it looks like we are currently on lap 46 of the estimated 53 in this 2-hour time span. And we've come a long way with everybody today. I'm real curious here to see this middle field. There's a lot of close cars here.
A little bit of an awkward race here going on between Luis Rivera and somebody I can't make out. Unless somebody is around here. Is that Rivera as we speak about him? It is. Luis Rivera is around. Looks like he got into a contention with a yellow McLaren. Not sure I can make out exactly who that is. It looks like it is Bryson Black and that yellow McLaren. Got into a bit of a tussle. I'm not sure if they made contact there. But it does appear that when Rivera has spun out, Black gave him, he almost he had seceded and said, hey, go ahead and take your spot.
I'm thinking about the comments here. Import says he's new to understanding iRacing. He said RX-7s in real life that Luis Rivera built the motors. So he's trying to get me to buy the equipment and start iRacing. Thank you for the good info, though. You know, I am also new to iRacing, but I am happy to provide, you know, whatever I know in, unfortunately, circle track racing. But whatever questions you may have, you know, I am happy to answer them to the best of my ability.
I love seeing a community come together like that, man. I can race, just choose not to. It's easier to do this.
You know, it's definitely fun announcing these races, and I have a lot of fun with the official series I'm in. But again, I'm very new to iRacing, so I don't understand a lot of the tracks. I still haven't figured out how to do setups yet. But just being a part of this giant community with everybody, it's been a blessing.
And I mean, you're talking hundreds and hundreds of racers from different divisions, man. And a lot of these guys double dap and everything. And it's cool to see. I've got to experience type of camaraderie and community between all these drivers throughout these different racing series. And it looks like somebody went off the track there. That might have been the number 115 again, which is Joey Helton. Really looks like he's been fighting that car tonight.
Absolutely. You know, he's definitely getting a little loose here. And I'm curious to know if it's a tire issue or if it's a steering and suspension issue. You know, he's unfortunately had a couple moments like that tonight. So I'm real curious how he's going to go from there and counteract those moments.
Just want to point out that Kevin Black is out of this race and this fight that we have going on, which is a non-contention fight for Bryson Black. However, he's he's having fun, Luis Rivera. He's really having a good time out there. As we go back to Maxwell, your boy in the cotton candy car, as you like to call it, behind Cole Larson being lap traffic.
Absolutely. I'd love to know how he's going to get around this lap traffic here. It kind of seems like he's hanging out just a little bit, trying to find the perfect moment. And going and checking out the times here. Matthew Wood still in the lead, and I'd like to check out his fastest time of the race. It seems the best time he's had so far is 2 minutes, 16 seconds, .539. So not much has changed there between his last fastest lap, his last best lap, I'm sorry. And Tyler Justice, his best lap was a 2:16.992. So his best lap hasn't changed, and I think he ran that early on in the race.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're Matthew David Wood, man, and you're almost 30 seconds ahead of second place and almost a minute from third, there's much more beyond that. I mean, you can call it a galaxy far, far away, but, I mean, do you really have to race your heart out and then show your butt and have a little bit of fun? I say conserve the car and let him have his time. However, if he allows that to happen continuously, and I know we don't have a lot of time left. We're coming up on 7.5 minutes. Tyler Justice just cut down a 1.5 seconds from that lap. So if Matthew Wood does get complacent, there might be just enough within the last lap or two.
Absolutely. And, I don't want to call the weatherman cocky here, but maybe he's slowing down a little bit to let everybody else catch up and then make his move and escape again.
Now, you're talking about fishing. As someone who fishes here in Florida, but we do it for fun, we do it for sport, we do it for harvest. Don't you think in the racing world that might be a little hurtful?
It definitely seems a little hurtful, especially if I'd be in second place knowing someone was taunting me like that. I think
sandbagging.
Exactly. I think I'd be a little sour.
Well, I don't think that's what we're getting here, as Matthew David just pushed it back up again. Again, a 30-second gap is a big gap. We're coming up at 6.5 minutes left in the race. We're not going to dismiss anything here because anything can happen as we pan back to the two McLarens duking it out. Both of them looks like they're rocking the same team, which is kind of cool. Love the yellow. Big fan of that. Ducky, I got to ask you, who was your highlight moment tonight? What driver would you say stuck out the most to you?
I think Tyler Justice did with the way he's been moving. He kind of fell back there just for a second, and then he's really been putting down some fast lap times, and he's been very consistent. But I also have to mention, let's see here.
Are you going to say Joshua Suss? Because that was going to be my pick.
Yes.
Okay. I kind of figured you were leaning there.
He's just had an amazing night, and he was very consistent and just had a game face on through this entire race. And I love that for him. I love to see that from him.
Even through conversation, when we had talked to him earlier, we watched him move up a couple of positions, move down and move back up, and he's sitting politely in 6th place. Mind you, he might be a lap back and kind of being light with the car. And that when you're getting this close to the end of the race, that's kind of what you're going to do. Joshua Suss would have been my first pick, but I gotta hand it to the 3rd and 4th, man. Bazzi and Maria, they stuck in there. They didn't allow anybody to get away, but they didn't allow anybody to close in on them, if that means anything to you.
Absolutely. They've been very consistent with just holding that spot there, especially when they work so hard to get up to it. I'm happy for them as well. They've really shown a great race here today. They've been very consistent, and I'm happy for them that they're currently in 3rd, and that could be the official race result. as we come into 4.5 minutes here, this is really the heart of it all. The last 5 minutes of everything.
This is where you're going to start seeing people really race, even if there's not a position in contention, as we're watching right now between the two teammates. And I think this is exactly why we're seeing what we're seeing. Bryson Black is down, but he's still sitting there fighting Luis Rivera, trying to make it interesting as they come up on that Acura of J.D. Larson, also again in lap traffic of Larson Motorsports, that number 98 Acura NSX. You know, this is what racing is. Even if you're down, even if you're out, or if you're in it or you're not. You know, you could be 3 laps down or 2 laps up, and you're still going to find a way to race the guy next to you. And I think that's the beauty of this all.
Absolutely. You know, I love some good competition, especially when it comes down to the end of a race. It really shows how much composure a lot of these drivers have in their mental strategies. And it shows a little bit of weakness, I want to say, as well, especially when you're trying to push the car ahead faster than you've ever done. And a lot of it is just trying to gain a position, but it seems everybody here is they're holding where they are.
I mean, I know 1 through 5 isn't a close battle, but we have a nice little pack battle. Some within position, some laps down. And if you look in the back there, the number 115, the BMW M4 Comp, slowly creeping up on the hills of that nice yellow McLaren. And that is Bryson Black. We could see some fun racing here. We got about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the race. I'd like to see some interesting moves the next couple laps. What do you think?
Absolutely. You know, this is the perfect time to show something that you have never done before and really push the car to a limit where you can still control it, but also get ahead. And again, I love the action. I am all about seeing moves being made. And I think that's what I've loved about today so far is there's been so many passes, and they've been clean passes. Nobody's had an issue really throughout the entire 2 hours that we've been here.
Oh, and looks like we got somebody going off on the side there. That's Bryson Black in the yellow number 41 McLaren from the Helix 9 Motorsports. I'm not sure if a tire gave out or if he just got caught in the draft and overshot and didn't see where he was going. The 115 of Joey Helton creeping up on J.D. Larson with Larson's Esports on that number 98 Acura. As we come down to a minute and a half, this is a competitive battle between 12th and 13th place between Joey Helton and J.D. Larson. We did have a 3-way battle there with Cole Larson at one point. As you can see, our number 1 stand here at the number 21 car with the BMW M4, Matthew Wood, is creeping up on lap traffic. Just to point out, from 6th place down is 1, 2, 3, 9 laps or more or out of this race. That's how far ahead he is. But yeah, that yellow McLaren really struggling as we see Matthew Wood pass him.
Here we are down to the final minute with 45 seconds to go. And this is it, folks. Last 40 seconds. Who's going to make a move here? And it kind of looks like they spaced out just a little bit. You know, this might be it here.
We're coming down to the last 20 seconds of the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Series. The 2 hours of the Spa. Presented by ServPro. If anybody's a pro, it's ServPro. And your number 1 leader right now with 5 seconds ticking down in the final lap left is Matthew David Wood.
All right, and here we have it. Final lap. Matthew David Wood, the weatherman, holding it down in first. Tyler Justice, 33 seconds behind. Maxwell Mozzie, just 3 seconds under, a minute behind the leader. And then fourth, we've got Anthony Morea with it looks to be a minute and 26 seconds behind. I'm sorry. And in fifth, we've got Isaac Bevan with a lap down.
I really want to give a huge shout out to working with you tonight, man. This has been a blast. Huge shout out to our producer, Cody. Cody, you did an awesome job. Shout out to the sponsors, the NASRA Racing Network. It's been an honor to work with them.
Absolutely. You know, I'm going to give a shout out here. This has been an amazing night with a lot of action here, and there's never been a dull moment tonight, especially with you. You know, being new with you, I love the fact that we can bounce back and forth, and I look forward to that.
And it really has been a blast. It has. This is, new to us tonight. I think we had a fun time doing this. I do want to get back to our secondary sponsor of the bracket tournament of the King of Europe point standings, Blanchard's Towing and Company. Thank you to everybody. This has been a blast, and as we round out our checkered flag here, coming around into the chicane just before the last turn, your leader, the number 21 BMW M4 Comp from Matthew Wood with Mission 1 Esports taking home the first place position as we see the final drivers make their roundup. What a race, Duck. What a race.
This is wonderful, and I think we were expecting a little bit of a position switch there at the end, but I think I'm pretty satisfied with how it ended. Everybody ran just an amazing race today. There wasn't really any issues here, and there's a cotton candy car again going around the back. Just everybody ran a great race today, and everybody's composure was just on point. And I have to congratulate all the drivers for that.
Absolutely, I do too. Even just getting to talk to them, that was really something. I did enjoy it. They all held their composure. We got to see the interactions. I have to say, if I had to give the gold medal for the most intense looking driver on cam today, is Dalton Shearer. That mustache was even more angrier than what his driving might have been.
Absolutely. I'm going to second that there. He is just, that mustache is just something. It's got its own face and its own feelings.
It's like a Marine fighter pilot, Ducky.
Absolutely. Just look at that face. Even now, he is just still locked in.
Looks like the firefighters here in town.
Somebody call the fireman here.
Well, I don't know if we have a fireman, but we definitely have a weatherman.
And I'm going to take a second here and thank the chat. You guys have been also an important part of the night. Thank you for interacting with us. And also to the fans of all the drivers. You guys have been amazing. And we look forward to talking with y'all again. I couldn't have asked for anything better for my first night.
There we are with our top 3 finishers: Matthew Wood, Tyler Justice, Maxwell Giacomazzi. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with our top finalists with some interviews. Thank you, and welcome to the NASRA 360 Racing Network at the Prosper Engineering Endurance Series, the 2 hours of the Spa.
Starbase, 1552 Comics. Suit up and head over to Whatnot Live to fight your way to save your collection. Our command center has comic books, action figures, posters, autographs, Funko Pops, and many other collectibles. If you can't make it live, fly on over to our eBay and Amazon stores. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook because being informed is part of the battle. Starbase 1552 Comics is a proud supporter of the iRacing's North American Sim Racing Association League. Starbase 1552 Comics. Reclaim your childhood.
And we're back with the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Series, the 2-hour of the Spa, presented by ServPro. If anybody's a pro at ServPro, I'm here with my esteemed colleague, Rubber Ducky, and the finalists, the first through third guys. Man, it was a fun race. I want to start here with our third place guy. Maxwell, I have to ask you. Excuse me. We're going to start with our first place guy. We're going to start with our first place guy here. Yep. Matthew Wood. Matthew, how'd you feel tonight, man?
I felt absolutely wonderful. It was great to battle everybody. Great to battle Tyler there at the beginning. Just going around the track trying to get as many hot laps as I could. Just you have to stay on your toes at this place, especially, Blanchard, Rouge, and early on. You just have to stay on your toes. The rear wants to come out basically every corner. So it's definitely difficult. I opted out of the SPA 24 this year. I didn't have a teammate. Well, I did, but I actually didn't, unfortunately, have the time to. So, and I didn't have the practice. So it's nice to be back at SPA. It's the first race that I ever did an endurance race on iRacing on. So, special place here. This is so. Just glad to be here.
That's awesome, man. It's been a killer to watch you race here tonight. You've been on rails the entire 2 hours we've watched you around here. I got 100 questions I can ask you, but I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to my colleague here. Ducky, go ahead, man.
Absolutely. I do have a question for you. Tell us a little bit about your emotional state throughout the entire race and how you handled, the beginning, halfway, and even the end there. Tell us a little bit more about that.
My mental state in races, it just goes into, I go into a focus state to where I don't even typically remember, most of the laps. I remember the big moments, but most of the laps are just white noise, being perfect. Of course, you're going to remember the mistakes, but just keeping the gaps consistent. I like to keep my mind going with just doing math, just random math that I can find throughout the race, whether it be pit strategy or how much I'm gaining a lap or losing a lap, or I'm just finding random pieces of math to do to keep my mind engaged and keep myself going. So that's if the race is getting a little bit dull. I love to fight. I love to battle for position, but if it does get a little bit dull, then that's what my mind goes to. So it's really interesting. It is, but that's how I keep myself engaged typically.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to hear it.
Sounds very tactical, to say the least, man. I mean, you really put on a clinic out there. I think a lot of us were just mesmerized with the lap times you're putting down. Before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank? Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Of course, I got to thank, as always, Outlier Speed Co. Make best setups on iRacing. We're pushing hard every week to be within reach of Coke Series drivers on the NASCAR side. So. Hoping to make a run at that next year. So thank you to Dallas over on the Rallycross side from Team Dog Racing. Like I said, I've started a new little journey. It's Rallycross and been doing very, very well in that. My first journeys are going to start later this year, so keep y'all posted on that. I thank everybody here at NASRA for everything that they do, Josh and everybody that's on the board of directors and everybody that keeps this series going. Everybody for coming out tonight, a huge field tonight. I'm excited to go watch the broadcast back. It's apparently I've heard a lot of good things. So excited to do that. Thank you all for coming out. Thank everybody that supports the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We'll go to next week, and congratulations to the other two.
Matthew, the Weatherman Wood, thank you so much for joining us, man, and great job tonight taking that first place finish on that number 21 BMW. Awesome stuff, man. We look forward to catching you next time.
Yep. God bless everybody. Thank you.
Moving on to our second place finisher here. Ducky, I'm going to go ahead and let you do the introduction on this one.
Absolutely. Tyler Justice. Just an amazing race tonight, and we've watched you jump back and forth, and it wasn't a bunch, but tell us a little bit more about how you maintained your composure throughout the race.
Yeah, I mean, it was really fun at the beginning. Just running with MDW right there, real fun back and forth. Only McLaren, it's great at heating the tires coming out of the pits, but by the end of it, it is just burning up the tires. So you get it good at the beginning, and you pay for it at the end. Caught a little bit of lap traffic at bad spots. One on the entrance of pit road. Just kind of lost his slipstream and couldn't really ever get it back going. But yeah, I was just kind of focused, make sure to stay consistent. I ended up, once I knew that he was way out there, I was kind of backed it down a little bit to make sure I didn't get a drive through or anything crazy like that. Just to keep, after last week, our last race, didn't want to have that same issue that I have where another driver with like 2 to go. So just try to back it down and just keep it smooth and just get a good P2 again.
Look, I gotta say something, Tyler. I'm supposed to ask you a question, but I'm just gonna say something out here. Okay, I don't know if you have a nickname, but I'm gonna call you the Judge, as in Tyler, the Judge Justice. And the only reason why is I saw you driving that car like you were trying to discipline somebody and lay down the law. I gotta give you some credit tonight. We watched you early on within the first 15 to 20 minutes hanging up there with Matthew, and we, Ducky and I sat here, we're like, this is going to be a fight to the end. I guess there's a question in here. What do you think you could have maybe have done different to just kind of stay in pace with him, or was he just that quick today?
I mean, he's been quick all season. He had a little bit more pace. Toward the end of the stints, he would have about half a second at times faster, just because, like I said, the McLaren just eats up the tires. But after that first stint, I was able to run him down coming out just because of how good it heats up the tires on exit of pit road. And then just some couple, not really issues, just bad catching lap traffic at a bad time. So, it's part of sports car racing. So it's not anything nobody did wrong. It's just bad luck. Usually, sometimes you'll get it, and then sometimes you'll be on the other end of it where you get good traffic and the other guy catches them in kind of a bad place. But overall, I mean, it was, like I said, it was really fun. Grid field tonight. I was hoping for a little bit more, considering we just had the Spa 24. Thought maybe a few more people might have joined, but I'm glad everybody that did. It's probably one of my favorite tracks ever. It's just a blast to race, especially in the McLaren.
That's awesome to hear, man. You guys really did a great job out there. Before we wrap up, any shout outs you got for your sponsors, anybody you want to thank for this one? And again, I'm a man of nicknames. The name The Judge will stick at some point. Let's go and give that shout out.
Yeah, I just want to shout out Lions 3D Designs, Sim Shop, use code Bandits, Hillbilly Custom Baits, Prosper Engineering for being the title sponsor, Josh Suss and everybody over on the admin side of putting on the series. It's been a really good time and really great setup. I really can't wait till next season as well. It's going to be some cool things with that. And then all my teammates over at Bandit Motorsports, getting close. Hopefully we'll get a win sometime for them.
Awesome stuff, man. Thank you, Tyler, so much for joining us today. You did a great job this race, and we look forward to seeing you again the next podium spot and have a similar conversation, if not a better one.
Yep, I appreciate y'all.
We're going to go ahead and move on to our third place finisher, our top podium guy. And I know I took the first one and I gave you the second, but I feel it's only necessary. Ducky, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Max, I am so sorry. It cut Mr. Cotton Candy. I am so sorry for butchering your last name. But I think the main question that I have for you is we have seen you go back and forth between spots. And I would love to know your strategy for tonight and how you maintain your composure.
So I feel like I qualified pretty well. Got snipped right at the end there by Anthony Morera, and so figured that that was going to be a tough race between me and him, and Isaac Bevan behind me. Was able to make an aggressive move into Eau Rouge and make it stick. And then, unfortunately, I just trying to keep up with MDW and Tyler, just got a little loose and, saw me slide through the gravel and lose a bunch of spots. So then it just became at that point, just became goal was just save the race, save a podium.
If I'm not wrong, you dropped to 7th or 8th when that happened, did you not?
Yeah. Yep. So it was that was fun, try, a little bit of excitement as I chased down Isaac. And Isaac was really pushing me even after he had that spin. That whole second stint was basically quali laps for me, and he was staying 4 seconds behind, and I was giving it all I got just to make sure that he couldn't approach me. So just then I'm not quite sure what happened, but he eventually dropped back off my radar, and I was able to kind of chill out a little bit and just kind of focus on finishing the race.
Well, normally I would have a more important question to ask, but I feel like this is top list. How do you pronounce your last name?
Giacomazzi.
You know what? We're sticking with the Maz.
I like it.
Cotton Candy Mozzie.
Max, it's been a pleasure. I mean, I do have actually one honest question to ask you here, because the same thing we were just talking about when you had spun out early on, you lost a good couple of positions there. And I think it was in a matter of 3 to 4 laps, you were already back in contention, sitting in 4th. What happened there? What transpired? Did something kick in overdrive in the back of your brain? What happened there to where you just dialed in, somehow confidently regained control of your car, put it back on the track, found yourself in early mid-pack traffic from your 6th to 10th spot, and then made your way back up?
I like chasing guys down. It's one of the most fun things to do in a race. And just watching that gap shrink and shrink and shrink, it just puts a drive in me and makes me focus just that little bit extra to really nail my apexes and my braking markers and acceleration, and just that little bit of things, something to focus on, allowed me to completely forget about that mistake and just focus on the race ahead of me.
Awesome stuff, man. Thank you for that. It's been a pleasure. I'm gonna know you as the Moz, and I know Ducky will forever remember you as the Cotton Candy Man. Do you have any sponsors you want to thank, man? Anybody you want to shout out to? Any reach out to?
First, I want to thank my wife for watching our son and letting me race. I couldn't do it without her. She keeps the house together, lets me do my hobbies. And then I also want to thank Ryvan Motorsports, the team I'm with, Ryan Van Epps, has built an absolutely fantastic group of guys that love to go racing. And finally, got to thank Josh and everyone else who runs NASRA. Really great league, really well run. Happy to be here every other week.
You know what? I think I could speak for everybody here, including our producer, that we agree with you wholeheartedly with that last statement. We are super glad to be part of NASRA and bring these competitions to you guys and get to watch you guys and talk about it. And it's been a blast. It's been a thrill. So thank you, Max. Thank you for coming in and great race today.
Thank you.
And that will conclude the 2 hours of the spa. That will conclude the 2 hours of the spa. Your first place finishers, Matthew David Wood, followed by Tyler Justice, Anthony Morea in third, Max, well, the Maz, we're going to call him the Maz now, in fourth, Devin Painter in fifth, Isaac Bevan in sixth, Rob Forelli in seventh, Buzzy Mongold in eighth, Luis Rivera in ninth, Joshua Suss in 10th. That is your standings as of now for the Prosper Engineering Endurance Series.
And it looks like bringing out your 11th through 20th. We've got Adam Newton here in 11th. 12th behind him, we've got Luke Smith. 13th is Dustin Gordon, followed by Dalton Shearer in 14th. 15th is Cole Larson. 16th, Tyler Brokaw. And then we've got J.D. Larson in 17th. 18th is Stephen Thomas. 19th is Chris Blanchard. And then 20th, we've got Brandon Rapp. And the last three here, we've got Joey Helton in 21st, Keith Haney in 22nd, and Bryson Black.
That's going to round out the final standing for the Prosper Engineering Endurance Race Series here at the Spa. 2-hour endurance race that you guys just sat here and watched with us. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our sponsors at ServPro. If anybody's a pro, it's ServPro. And thank you to Blanchard's Towing and Company. I'm Anthony Shababy. Next to me is my esteemed colleague, Rubber Ducky. We'll catch you guys next time. Good racing.